Good afternoon. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Kerfuffle webinar. Again, absolutely delighted today to have Ashley on from Agent Hub. How are you, Ashley? You okay?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, as well as ever. Trump's gone, so I've got my great Whaley hat, a great again hat. I've nicked that off him, like everything I do. So Ashley, look, last time we had you guys on, we were talking about obviously the Agent Hub product that you've built off the backbone of Salesforce, and that is doing great guns, going into a number of different agencies at the moment. But when we got to the end of it, one of the new kind of product launches that you were just getting out of the research labs was the MLS part of the solution, and you're on today to talk primarily about that, just to explain to us again what an MLS is, how Agent Hub can help out with that side of things. So if we can kind of précis that at the beginning to start off with, I think many agents in the UK probably would have heard the terminology MLS, but could you just give us an overview from your point of view as to what it means?
Sure. So I think the simplest way to understand and perceive an MLS is a sharing platform for professionals, right? So a professional portal only, a professional only portal. Yeah. Rightmove, not for consumers, whichever, so many different ways to term it, but it's all to do with the sharing of the properties and the requirements. So you can share a property that you've got for sale or for rental. You can share a client that's got a requirement for either or both. And then the system will automatically match to the retrospective agents that have any properties or requirements that match to yours.
Okay, cool. This has been very common, hasn't it, in the States in particular? That's where most people will have heard about it. I think a large percentage of their stock over there does get broadcast and advertised on these MLS sites.
So as an American realtor, you actually have to, you have to join an MLS, right? It's part of their license, okay? Right. And the way it works over there is you get a property on, you take a property on, a vendor would ask you to sell a property, landlord asks you to rent a property, whatever it might be, and then you have to place that property on the MLS within, I think it's 24 hours or 48 hours.
Okay.
Right? So it's part of their process there. But for an American realtor, it's where everything is, that's the hub, that's the central repository for where all of their properties lie. So people don't really go by portals, they go by what's on the MLS. If somebody wants to sell something, they go by what's already been sold on the MLS, and that's how they work. But if you're a professional not using the MLS, they don't even consider you a real realtor, if you like.
That's really interesting. So they still have the concept of property portals over there, don't they? So they, for example, Zillow or those other ones. But these MLSs are a different way of people accessing the property stock in the US. Then,
yeah. So over here, how we have portals, and portals are a go-to thing. If we're speaking to agents all the time, new agents, old agents, and it's all about what portals are they using, right? In America, in stateside, it's purely about what MLS are you using, how many MLSs are you on, because that tells the vendors, it tells the landlords how many other professionals that you have access to.
It's really interesting. So if you're always looking for as many quality buyers as you can get. You will obviously it is part of your marketing strategy, part of your resources, as you said, if you can get that out to the widest possible audience.
Of course, because we have to be clear that majority of the sales and transactions, and in America they call it leases. Majority of the transactions that are done are through an MLS, and they're not through agents that have the buyer and the seller, or the tenant and the landlord. No way, no chance.
Okay, got my head around that. That's cool. And MLS in the UK has been relatively, I'd say, niche, hasn't it? So there's been the concept of kind of in London, central London agents working very closely together in terms of doing half commission deals together. There was the group of team agents down the south of England as well, worked collaboratively for a number of years, but it hasn't taken off nationally in the way that clearly it has done in the States. Do you have any opinions as to why that hasn't happened?
I think over here, agents see it from the opposite side of the table, where realtors see it as a necessity. And that's what makes it work. They see it as a necessity. And over here, it's almost seen as, as, ooh,
yeah. We don't cope with different too well, do we, a lot of the time?
Not too well. But I think once that changes and people understand and agents understand the benefit to having a much more stronger pool of properties or client requirements that are constantly coming in, then the ethos will change. And once the ethos changes, then we can get more properties, more fees, higher fees, more.
That's the critical thing, isn't it? As people become confident of the offering of the solution, and they can literally communicate the benefits better to the vendor, then like anything, if there is additional value in there, you would hope you could charge extra for it. And of course, I mean, I've heard the flip side is the reason they felt that it hasn't been able to happen in the UK is, well, look, our fees are low enough already. How can we possibly split them any further? But, yourself, I'm sure, and other people that say the way this should work is, look, if you're going to go down the MLS route, then there should be a higher fee capable of being charged. Is that have I got the right end of the stick there?
Yeah, I think, you hit the nail on the head. People are so highly strung about, my fees are low, my fees are low, my fees are low. Your fees are low because your competitors down the road are driving your fees down, not because you're driving your fees down. But if your competitor down the road was on the same page as you, singing from the same hymn sheet, then your fees wouldn't be so low. But it's the same in every business. It's not different. We're no different to an electrician touting for the electrician business, or for builders touting for sites. Everybody wants the same job. So naturally people are pushing their fees down to get that job. But now if you've got more resources, you've got access to more, you can charge more, right?
And it's too important to be commoditized. Like many of, actually those services, yes, you spoke about there, you do need an expert. But, if people see things as widgets and there's very little differentiation, then you only ever get to negotiate on price, don't you? But obviously with a home being the luxury item it is and everything else there, it warrants a different level of investment in terms of the people that can make the deal happen.
Exactly. When you go and do an instruction, the first thing you want to try and do typically in today's market is you want to sell the agency for 16 weeks. You'd be lucky if you get a percent, but.
And it is true, isn't it? In the States, I think it's right that they can get 3% for being obviously the vendor's agent, but they can also get the other side of the equation, 3% for being the buyer's agent as well. And actually, it's possible to be both. But bizarrely, in my head, you can be both represent both sides of the equation as well and get a 6% chunky fee.
You can be both representing the buyer and the seller, but as I said to you, it rarely happens, and that's why they're so used to actually working together. But again, what they're doing is no different to what's happening now, right? We all know tons of agents. We've all been, in the same situation where you've got agent A and agent B. They very well know each other. Some of them are very good friends. There's, a lot of agents are mates.
It's a brilliantly incestuous industry at its best, isn't it? The way people can work very collaboratively together, and even if you're working competitively, you tend to know your competitors as well as anybody, don't you?
Yeah, you have to. You have to, and even in our situation, we do the same. It's no different at all. But what's the problem with working? With someone or against someone? You work with them, you might get more. You work against them, you're both driving your fees down. So it's a negative on both parts, right?
It's genuinely always been an ethos of mine is to talk to your competitors. Nothing might come out of it, but I very rarely see. I don't see certainly any negative comes out of it. And if it throws up an opportunity here or there, whilst avoiding that magical end of the scale, or sorry, not the magical end, the other end of the scale, the cartel angle, which of course we're this has nothing to do with at all. Obviously, yeah, you know, why would you not look at this when potentially it can help you sell more properties at a higher fee? It just doesn't, and easier, of course, and that's the bit we're going to get onto now. So I think thank you for Janet and John explanation of MLS. You do know I obviously need all this explained very slowly to me. So talk about, we understand then the concept of that. How are you able to help out? What exactly is the MLS enhancement? How is it working in Agent Hub?
So our professional only portal allows an agent to share a property or post a property. You may prefer that term. So they can post a property and they can post a client's requirement. So they can either post a property that they're selling or renting, or they can post a buyer or tenant that is looking for a certain type of property to purchase or to rent, right?
Yeah.
Our system is built on a system called Heroku, which I touched on in our last spotlight. And what our system does, without going around the marble bush, is it matches those clients to the requirements, and it matches the clients to the requirements of every single user that's logged into the system.
Yeah, brilliant.
So it's quite simple. It does it for you. You don't really have to do too much, because you're looking at a property and it's telling you what professionals you should speak to and contact.
Ashley, sounds fantastic. I think we want to stay in contact with you on this one specifically as well, and see how it develops. I think I'm going to definitely keep a watchful eye on it.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Good. Keep the enhancements and the innovation flowing, my friend. All right.
We try. We definitely do try.
Excellent. Have a good one. Okay. Cheers, Ashley.